don't know why we have to parse everything that this guy says so sternly.
We're running against something far bigger than Joe or Kamala and far more powerful than them, which is a massive, vicious, crooked, radical left machine that runs today's Democrat Party. They're just vessels. In fact, they're perfect vessels because they'll never give them a hard time. They'll do whatever they want. I know many of them. It's just this amorphous group of people. But they're smart and they're vicious. And we have to defeat them. And when I say the enemy from within, the other side goes crazy, becomes a sound. Oh, how can he say? No, they've done very bad things to this country. They are indeed the enemy from within. But this is who we're fighting.
You're not fun at all. That's not fun, loving, and mischievous. It sounded quite threatening. That's actually worthy of some real examination. And all the Republicans who have talked about having fun at Trump's rallies, I'm sure they'd express concerns about this type of rhetoric. Well, I bet Donald Trump is about to get an earful from the current Speaker of the House, who will, despite his support of Donald Trump, still have the courage to, I'm kidding, just roll it.
There's an energy out there that we have not seen before. And I am convinced that in 9 days, we are going to grow the House majority, we're going to take back the Senate, and send Donald Trump back to the White House. Let me tell you why that is. Because everywhere around the country, no matter where you live, everybody is fed up and they are fired up. They're fed up. It doesn't matter what demographic they're in. It doesn't matter what walk of life. They know that we cannot afford 4 more years of Kamala Harris in the White House.
Where's the we the people Constitution first outrage here? He's talking about treading on you. You always wave the don't tread on me flag. This is treading. This is what gets us to the ultimate problem, which is this. Is any of the shit Trump says real? How are we supposed to understand what's bullshit and what isn't? Kamala Harris, she's got to have an 80-page presentation on exactly how this opportunity economy is going to function and how it's going to be paid for. Meanwhile, the standard for Trump is emotional vicinity. Apparently, it doesn't actually matter if the things he says are true. And if you try and dig down on the lies, he only gets liar.
To his and her egregious hurricane response, the worst response in North Carolina and other states since Katrina, but I think it was even worse than Katrina. They haven't even responded in North Carolina. They haven't even responded. There's nobody. They don't see any FEMA. You know why? They spent their money on bringing in illegal migrants. So they didn't have money for Georgia and North Carolina and Alabama and Tennessee and Florida and South Carolina. They didn't have any money for them. They spent all of their money on bringing in illegal immigrants and flying them in by beautiful jet planes. They flew in. We just found out about a year and a half ago. Remember, we said, what's going on? Those planes, there are a lot of planes going over there. What are they? They would fly them into the middle of our country, our beautiful, beautiful country. And you know what happened? You take a look at Springfield, Ohio. Think of this. Where 30,000 illegal migrants were put into a town of 50,000 people. No place can withstand that.
Believe it or not, people, I welcome migrants to the United States of America with open arms. And by open arms, I mean like this. It's wild. And these Latinos, they love making babies, too. Just know that. They do. They do. There's no pulling out. They don't do that. They come inside, just like they did to our country. There's a lot going on. Like, I don't know if you guys know this, but there's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah. I think it's called Puerto Rico. Okay. All right. Okay. We're getting there.
It was everything that you need to know about Donald Trump in one weird white nationalist Nazi-type rally. And of course, there's historic parallels to where and when this happened. But even more so, it also points out everything that we know, but it's important to act on right now because this is the moment and we won't have it again. Nobody gets a pass trashing America. Puerto Rican Americans, nobody gets a pass degrading people. Nobody gets a pass degrading legal migrants and terrorizing people. Nobody gets a pass threatening his enemies with using the military against them. Nobody gets a pass on inciting an insurrection. Nobody gets a pass on saying he fancies Hitler and wants to have generals like his. Nobody gets a pass on insulting veterans and saying those who died for our country are suckers and losers, except for convicted felon Donald Trump. And guys, here's the warning. You all have set it up. But let me take it a step further, please, if I may. This is called normalization. This is the descent into fascism, if we so choose. Normalizing January 6th, it's a day of love. It's a day of love. I'll say it again and again and again. Normalizing enemy from within. I'll say it again and again. I'll say it again and again until you get tired of it, until it's not so funny anymore, or you think he doesn't mean it until you realize he does mean it and it's too late. Saying these strict abortion bans are a beautiful thing. Are you kidding me? We got to wake up. And here's the good news, because I come with such dire warnings, and I mean them from the bottom of my heart as a daughter of refugees who came here escaping war, came here for America to be a part of a democracy, to be a part of building something beautiful where they could be free. I'm telling you, the good news is that I believe women will be the beacon in this election.
I hope so. And speaking about women,
And
Vice
Mika,
President,
if you're a Latina woman, you gotta go with your stilettos on.
I know. Thank you for all the work you've been doing, and I am so sorry. What we saw yesterday is just disgusting.
It was despicable.
Sick.
Republican lawmakers were quickly on the case denouncing this, which shows you how seriously they take this. Congressman Anthony Desposito from New York, who's in a tough re-election battle, tweeted, "I'm proud to be Puerto Rican. My mom was born and raised in Puerto Rico. The only thing that's garbage was a bad comedy set." Then, of course, we have Senator Rick Scott, who's in a battle for his Senate seat. A lot of Puerto Ricans in Florida. The joke bomb for a reason. It's not funny and it's not true. Puerto Ricans are amazing people, amazing Americans. Congressman Carlos Jimenez, this is not a joke. It's completely classless and in poor taste. Puerto Rico is the crown jewel of the Caribbean. What do you make of it all?
I think that it is clearly going to land horribly with all of the Puerto Ricanos, like you mentioned, in this country who can vote, and they are across all the battleground states. As you know, I grew up in Puerto Rico, and I have been talking to so many people who not just live there, but who have family members and the diaspora here in the States, and they are fired up, Jake. And so I would say to Mr. Trump, don't make a Puerto Ricano angry. You're not going to like them when they're angry. They are pissed off. They see this as not just an offensive slight and insult, but just the latest offensive slight and insult. They remember what happened during Hurricane Maria. They remember he went down there and tossed paper towels at them, but they also remember that he lied about the death toll. He did not want to give Puerto Rico the aid that it so desperately needed. He had to be convinced that Puerto Rico was part of the United States in order for him to act. So this is not the first time. So I'm sorry if I don't believe the campaign when they say this doesn't reflect the values of the campaign. It certainly reflects the values of Donald Trump.
Mark, Madison Square Garden, arena of historic events, hosting a unique double act on Sunday. Front and center, former President Donald Trump delivering his classic campaign performance. But in a surprising twist, comedian Tony Hinchcliffe steps up and seizes the mic with a joke lineup that seems almost designed to rally more critics than cheers. Hinchcliffe opened with a swipe at Latinos' alleged enthusiasm for making babies, followed by a crack that dubbed Puerto Rico a floating island of garbage. In the background, Trump's recent quip about the U.S. being a garbage can for the world feels like the perfect prelude for this performance. The American political rally, a place where the line between comedy and commentary blurs just enough for plausible deniability. A recipe for backlash. Unsurprisingly, Hinchcliffe's jokes didn't go over as just jokes for many. Hispanic groups on both sides of the political spectrum, including the League of United Latin American Citizens and the Republican National Hispanic Assembly, quickly condemned the comments as offensive and derogatory. In a rare moment of agreement, they voiced collective disdain over Hinchcliffe's reductive humor, noting how it paints Puerto Rico, a U.S. territory in name, but often treated as an afterthought in care, as an aftertaste at best. Hinchcliffe, however, didn't seem to catch the signal that his humor might have missed its mark. His rebuttal on X, formerly known as Twitter, dismissed his critics as humorless and incapable of understanding the comedy in his set. Wild that a vice presidential candidate would take time out of his busy schedule to analyze a joke, he quipped, also throwing in a dig at Tim Walz for good measure. In what might be the most brazen example of doubling down, he also added, "I love Puerto Rico and vacation there. I made fun of everyone," as if a stamp in the passport or an all-inclusive package somehow shields him from accusations of insensitivity. Act 2, Rhetoric versus Reality. Ironically, this showcase of tough love for Puerto Rico lands right when the island is once again a topic of debate on the campaign trail. Vice President Kamala Harris had, on the very same day, launched her Opportunity Economy Plan for Puerto Rico. The plan pledges to modernize Puerto Rico's energy grid, expand affordable housing, and perhaps most importantly, emphasize respect for the island's people and culture. Harris's announcement was met with online support from influential Latino figures, including Jennifer Lopez, Luis Fonsi, and Bad Bunny, suggesting there's a big appetite for action that honors Puerto Ricans as equal stakeholders in the American project. But here's the twist. As Trump's administration...
I have an incredible show for you today. This stuff is factual and proven. But will anything happen? I also have Tucker Carlson and his special guest sharing exclusive information about the Donald Trump. I am going to be through much more, including what's going on at the DNC convention. Thank you so much for liking and sharing this video. Definitely let me know in the comment box where you are watching this. I would like to hear from you. But let's go ahead and jump into today's news. Top House Republicans have dropped a bombshell report. A 290-page report presenting empirical evidence that President Joe Biden has engaged in conduct-worthy impeachment. The finding alleged that Biden sold influence to foreign governments while serving as vice president to Barack Obama. He hid those payments through dozens of shell companies and gave Hunter Biden special treatment during federal investigation by asking the Department of Justice to look the other way. This also means that former President Barack Obama helped to cover this up because they did not want to tarnish his own presidency and have any kind of connection to Joe Biden selling out the United States of America for tens of millions of dollars. Now, as for Hunter Biden, this so-called special treatment is shocking. The DOJ reportedly blocked investigators, offered a sweetheart plea deal, and let the statute of limitations expire on his most serious charges. On the top of that, President Biden has refused to release subpoenaed documents regarding his classified documents probe, raising questions about